Hello, everybody. Matt Bull, MD of Action Coach in Loughborough, here with another episode of Business Spotlight. And I'm delighted today to be joined by Vikesh Samani from Mason Rowe. How are you today, Vikesh?
I'm good, Matt. Thanks for having me on this. Looking forward to it.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Great to have you here. Great to have you here. Why don't we get us started? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, obviously, you've introduced me. I am Vikesh, and yeah, look, I'm the founder and managing director of Mason Rowe. Founded the company 2014. Initially, it was sort of started as a property investment and sourcing company. Due to my background, I've got sort of 20 years experience. I'm going to show my age now, but I've got 20 years experience in property and finance, and hence it started as a property sourcing company and sort of evolved a couple of years later to what it does now, which is focusing on bridging development and private finance. We're a fully operational sort of finance brokerage and private lenders.
Amazing, amazing. And Mason Rowe isn't the only business you've got at the moment, is it? As part of the wider group exists.
Absolutely. So hence, obviously, Mason Rowe itself is probably focusing on more brokering for clients. However, we are private lenders as well. And I have a sort of a group sort of sister company, which is Synergy Capital Investments. Mason Rowe Private Finance is also another facet of the business as well. So we lend our own funds, and hence it kind of gives us our USP, and we're a bit of a hybrid model to the other brokers that are out there.
Amazing, amazing. So the question I ask everybody at the start of these interviews, one of my favorite questions is, what does the word success mean to you?
It's a good question. Success is different to everybody and is very subjective. For me, I think success is not just monetary, is obviously having a good business, but it's more to do with having that freedom that the business allows. And I respect anyone that has been in business, for a long time. So longevity, I think sort of I've been in business for 20 years and have evolved in that space. But I think success now with the young family is, to keep adapting, keep it agile. And, I respect the everyday entrepreneur, someone who has sacrificed, at times family and grown a business from start to where they are now, 20, 30 years in business and adapted to the new world we live in, social media technology. So yeah, success for me is someone who has kept it going, has kept adapting and learning and is still successful and is still here today, growing the business and doing well. So, I have a lot of inspiration, sort of like a lot of your sort of interviews have said, I follow sort of the Dragon's Dens and, your Sal and Sugar and people like that. But like I said, it started with my own dad, to be fair. He was in business for over 40, 50 years. We were in business together as well for a while. And that sort of work ethic and values has almost been ingrained from a young age for myself. So yeah, that's how I see success, really.
And as you reflect, what is it about the sort of way your father went about his business that you sort of think were instilled in you, or that you observed actually this is a way, whether it be inspiring, we learn one way or the other. Maybe there were some areas that you perhaps didn't like, that you took into the board, the way that you operate as a business owner. What are your key reflections of those early days?
Obviously, we're talking about sort of your 80s and 90s. So my father, had been in business for a while, but, he did it in sort of his own way, as you did then, very relationship led, old school, just learning as he went along. And I think, of course, when I came into play, I was trying to bring in some new ideas, technology would just come into play then. But I think the biggest thing I've learned from him, and you sort of don't know that until a few years later. I don't have my father now, so this is even more prominent for me. I lost him in 2019, but his teachings are prevalent in what I do now. And the key drivers are, your work ethic, integrity, and just basic things like honesty. And, just having them values, they're the key, building them key relationships, is not just to do with sales or money. Is genuinely building relationships with people, and I think I've never lost that, to be honest with you. And now being in business for 20 odd years, the whole business is reliant on having them relationships, values, honesty, being straightforward with people. And I think that's what, I feel I'm successful due to that, and then the relationships I have. So I thank him every day for giving me that, as well as obviously you learn core business in general. But I think they're the main teachings I have from him, to be fair.
Excellent. You mentioned Loughborough University. How important do you think that your time was there, both from a personal development and also educational development in the career you've had?
Yeah, so obviously my degree was in a complete different field, as is often the case for many. I've got a background in psychology, I wanted to go into forensics, and to be fair, I may have missed my vocation. I'm still very much, there. I still enjoy that. But again, them principles I bring into business now, it's I talk to people every day, you need to have them skills, in business. But I think Loughborough in general gave me sort of, the social skills, in the presentation skills. I was sort of on a course where I had to get to know new people, so I think that gave me the grounding for that sort of confidence, to what I'm doing now, to be fair. And education is vital. I'm not saying it's to be on, I have 3 young kids now, and I think times have changed where I'm teaching them, how to manage money, for example, how to be more streetwise. It's not just what you learn in the classroom. And I think that's fundamental for what I learned. But education in theory, it has to be part of it, and learning in general as well. I'm an avid reader, and I think, that's proved important to me as well. And, you learn a lot by just reading, not just in my sector, but across all sectors, really.
Right. So being in business 20 years, as you say, various sort of elements to that career. As you reflect, what would you say your key learnings have been for yourself as a business owner over that time?
Yeah, and you do learn a lot, and you would do things differently now. I think sort of focus, being decisive, that's key. Not chase the new shiny penny, as they say. When something just doesn't quite work out, give it time, unless you're obviously moving in a different direction. But I think it's a marathon, not a sprint. All the cliches I think are very important. I see that every day now, being patient, giving some, like I said. And then the other key elements are definitely to surround yourself with good people. I think being an entrepreneur, a business founder, it can be lonely. You're making tough decisions every day, but having people that you can discuss, talk to, challenge you even, I think that's key. Almost getting out of your own way. I find that a lot of business owners try to take too much control, and I think you need to play to your own strengths. So I do things that I feel I'm good at now and focus on that, whereas I've got colleagues, I've got employees now that obviously do a lot of things that I feel they're better suited to. So it allows me to grow the business, and to work on the business as opposed to being in the business on a daily basis.
Great. The property landscape's changed a lot over the last few years for yourselves at the moment. How do you see your sector shaping up over the next sort of, how far can we look at it the moment? But if I said the next sort of 3 to 5 years, how do you see the sector evolving for you guys?
Historically, although property gives you that stability, hence a lot of people in a lot of sectors still look to property for their sort of end goal, pension, etc. So property in general is still stable. However, you're right, the volatility comes from legislation, sort of government decisions that we have little control over. Just recently with the government changing, we had Liz Truss, and now we got Rishi Sunak. There was a big sort of upheaval really in the property and mortgage market space, where the rates have gone up. So that has impacted many of my development clients almost without notice, to be fair. In my specific sector with bridging and private finance, I feel lucky to be in this sector, because due to sort of the tightening of controls for corporate lenders, for traditional banks and institutions, I feel we've grown as a business, and there is a real need for alternative finance, more agile finance, and it offers that certainty, whereas the traditional finances don't now. So I feel there's still growth. I see new entrants every day. You feel it's going to be saturated, but it's not. I feel there's space for everyone out there. So there's new bridging lenders. There's people who have never entered the private lending space, but want to lend their own funds as an alternative to keeping it in the bank for better returns. So I feel that we've continued to grow, and I think there's over the next 3-5 years, I believe we'll do so again, really.
Great. And for yourself, how do you see yourself evolving over the next sort of 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying the space now, and I'm sort of learning daily and how to sort of continue, to grow into this space. I think it will be through personnel, it'll be through people. I've got great staff now, but I want to continue to employ. I believe, the private space has got legs there, and I want to sort of almost grow my own funding line to another level now. So not just focusing on the brokerage, I want to continue lending. So I want to grow the fund. And I believe I have clients needing that sort of alternative finance. So it's almost matching what my clients' requirements are to allow to keep servicing them, and I hope that sort of continues over the next 3 to 5 years.
I mean, amazing sort of focus that you've got for where the direction you're going. You mentioned you've got a young family. How do you maintain that sort of balance between having that drive and ambition and seeing opportunity as all of us business owners do, but ensuring that we can set the right example and maintain a balance? How do you attain that balance?
You've used the word twice already. I think balance is key, and it's very difficult to, it sounds easy on paper, but it's difficult. I've got 3 primary age school children. I work from home, and the reason I've got into business, and I've seen with my father, and I think again you have role models, don't you, where despite having businesses, we were never neglected. He was always there for us. And I tried to maintain the same sort of scope with my children, where business is extremely important. You do make sacrifices where you either then lose some opportunities or don't grow as quick. However, I think I'm doing it. My why is the family. So I think if, I've had advice from older entrepreneurs where they've kind of done put everything into the business, but they've not had a chance to see their children grow up. So I've taken some good advice on board. So I always try and maintain that. Hence my point about growing through people. I'm looking to employ people where the business doesn't get compromised, yet I'm still around for my children. So I think that's the way I'm investing in the business, investing in technology. There's a good space, fintech space. You've got AI now. So I think if I continue to invest in the business in the right way, then I'm hoping both I can maintain parity for both business and family, really.
Amazing. What advice would you give your 22-year-old self? So you're fresh out of Loughborough, take yourself back. What advice would you give that person then, however many years ago it was?
I think I've mentioned it before a little bit, just to give something time, to have that sort of focus and decisiveness as well, in the space that you have passion for. I think now I definitely want to do things that I enjoy. Don't stick around if you're not enjoying what you're doing. There is a big world out there, and social media technology allows for you to be a little bit agile in that. But I think definitely give something time, have patience, look at the long term, have that area of, like I said, it's not a sprint. We don't want instant gratification all the time. That doesn't allow for that growth and learning. So keep learning, surround yourself with good people. It's a big cliche, but your network is your net worth, and be a sponge. Surround yourself with quality people, good advice. There's a lot of good people out there willing to do that, and keep learning, really.
Amazing. And finally, there's as we said, macroeconomic wise, there's quite a bit of uncertainty at the moment, and another conversation for another day whether there's always uncertainty, but for a lot of business owners at the moment, they're finding it tough.
Right.
Clearly, got some amazing values behind you and a great deal of success. If there are business owners out there watching this at the moment who are finding things a little bit tough, and feeling a bit under pressure, what advice would you give them?
I think a lot of business owners are probably used to one direction of whether they need finance or whether they need help. They kind of go to what they've always known, traditional institution. I think now, I'd be open to it, and there's many out there, just to sound out other avenues of finance, raising finance guidance as well. There's a lot of people who have been in business or have faced challenges as well. So I think there's a lot of clubs out there, a lot of events out there to talk about challenges, and to share the difficulties. I think, Matt, you offer that as well as part of that. So, and I think there's alternative finance spaces. Like we've helped hoteliers, for example, that were relied on traditional finance spaces, but we managed to get them some finance and allowed them to meet the challenges during COVID, for example. So I think, speaking to sort of brokers and so forth who are in different spaces than the traditional may help to sort of find solutions. We're big on problem solving, and I think that's the key really at the moment.
Amazing. Vikesh, absolute pleasure having you on this episode of the Business Spotlight.
Thank you.
To all our viewers, catch us in the next episode. And once again, Vikesh, many thanks.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Take care.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.